So hopefully, for the final time, these are the comics I'll be reading for the next few weeks. The main course, if you will. I call it an appetizer and the main course. So the appetizer is usually those like that little stack of comics that I usually give myself to read in between. But this is like the main course, that big stack of books that I go over. And for those of you who follow my Instagram, that big stack of books I show the spines of, which I don't think I'm going to do anymore. Because I like doing these, because I would have appetizer little pile or big main course pile. Either way, I do show the spines and then snap a photo, and then when I finish them all, upload it on Instagram and I read them all at once. However, I think reviewing each comic individually is a better option, like when I finish them. Because number one, I finish them pretty consistently, and two, it's just a nice way to have consistent uploads on Instagram rather than 3 of the same photo where I change the the filters a little bit so it's not the same exact photo, so no one gets confused. I think it's just a much better choice all around, and that way they can see the covers too. So sometimes the covers will boost their interest in wanting to read the comic more. It sure has happened to me. Sure as hell has happened to me. So probably better just to do that. But anyways, let's get right into it. I'm gonna put these books here first. All right, so these ones, that's volume 2. So these are the OGNs. Okay. The first, what was it, like 10 or so were OGNs? So the ones that from last time I said, oh, I still have the 6 days, that little stack of OGNs I've had since April, I'm going to just return those to the library, and then the next time I check out books, the next main course pile, or hell, maybe even the in-betweens, I will check those out again, and then finally read those. It's just, I know I'm not going to be able to read them. The OGNs I have now that I want to finish, that I know I could, if they have plenty of time to finish them, even then I'm like, history will probably just end up repeating itself. So the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. My god. First 11 are OGNs. I had to add another one in because I don't know if one of them is an OGN or not. Because it is. You'll see what I see. You'll see what I see. You'll see what I mean in a second here. But first up, I will mention which one is the OGN. So which one is the OGN that I don't know of it. I don't know what it is. But so far, these are pretty obvious. Starting with the most obvious, in the thickest, is On a Sunbeam by Tillie Walden. Now, why am I mentioning the author's name? Those of you who've been those of you who have been watching this channel for long enough will know. I mean, it's almost like no one's watching this channel nowadays. I get some comments, but comments like are that one thing that really do get to me, because it's the only way that I know for a fact that people are watching my channel. I could have 59 views on a video and not get any comments. Then the next video I get 20 views and 3 comments. So I'd rather have that happen. I'd rather have the latter happen. 20 views, 3 comments. Because the views just mean like, oh, well, maybe the most dedicated subscriber was refreshing and unfortunately did not have anything to say about these books. I'm not going over this thick stack of books. It's kind of like I'm going over it. I guess it's different because reviewing them. But even then, I'm reviewing the comics. Yeah, I do them in several parts, but I don't know. Just feel like there's something to mention there. But I understand, like, sometimes even I'm watching a video, like Uncanny Omar, I'm watching one of his videos. Actually, he did do it on his channel. He did do a old reader, new reader on this book. It comes full circle. Even then, I don't have anything. I usually don't have much to comment on his channel. And on his live streams, even, I'm, like, grasping at straws. So I understand that happens. But I'm going over several books, like for a comic haul, for example. My end of the month comic hauls. Those, it's kind of like, you don't have anything to mention about these books? And I understand why. I could go over 5,000 books and have no one say anything because they don't know what to say. And then go over 2 books and then it's a big ass discussion. I'm obviously not blaming the subscribers for not commenting. I think it's YouTube. Because YouTube has a knack for just really not broadening my horizons to to people who would want to watch my videos. Because I'm sure there's a huge community that I'm missing out on because YouTube's algorithm sucks. But anyways, getting back into the swing of things, Tillie Walden's On a Sunbeam. This is a thick book. And usually, what are OGNs, by the way? They're original graphic novels. They're all in one. They never collected material. It's just all in one. So I read them all in one. I treat them as if they were one-shots. So I read them all at once. Except for this one. This one, there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to finish this all at once. So I probably will treat it like it's a collected edition. Maybe it'll be like 100 pages each day. It's only take me 5 days. But yeah, that's going to be a chore and a half, I feel. In the sense that I don't like not finishing something. Got no choice. No. Next up is Heart in a Box by Kelly the Image Comics pile. So the reason why I mentioned the authors is that this is the Image Comics pile. So that's why I named the authors, is because each and every book I have their Image Comics work. Maybe all of it, maybe some of it, but for the most part, I have all of it celebrated by finally acquiring that milestone by seeing what the library had from these authors. Kelly Thompson and Meredith McClaren both worked on Black Cloak. I'm not going to always mention what they did, but in times like these where there is a reason to mention it, because it's kind of a funny kind of a funny coincidence, I will mention that. But yeah, same exact creative team, Kelly Thompson, Meredith McClaren, that brought us Black Cloak. And Meredith McClaren has actually, sometimes the artists will actually write their own work for Image. And that's what Meredith McClaren did for, what's it called? Hinges. So, Heart in a Box. This one I have read before. So the rereads fall under 3 criteria. I'm just going to name all the criteria right now. Liked it so much, reading it every 6 months. The case of this book is in between that and the reread to redeem, where I didn't like it as much the first time. But usually 9 times out of 10, I really didn't like it. Like your Gotham Academies that I had a complete turnaround with. Read it the first time, didn't really like it, then gave it another chance, and then absolutely adored it. So like, again, complete turnaround. Went from a 4 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10. That's how drastic a change that was. That's why I reread books. And the third criteria is reread to refresh. Some of these books, the library just did not have the complete series. Now they do, so I'm like, alright, let's do it. Lore Olympus is a good example of it just being an ongoing series. So the library gets each new book as it comes out, although I think they're behind. And so am I, in retrospect, so. But now actually that's one of the books I'll be returning, unfortunately. Maybe I'll make an exception for Lore Olympus. I don't know. But anyways, Heart in a Box. Kelly Thompson, Meredith McClaren. The Adventures, Young Diana, Wonder Woman, The Adventures of Young Diana, written by Jordie Bellaire. This one, I'm saying, how many cuts I've done in the same video, it really feels like I'm regurgitating the same exact thing. But I did mention this before, so I want to keep it brief, because I did show this one off before when I was showing off like Black Science, Middle West, that pile, the miscellaneous pile, the appetizer pile. I did have this in there. Because I foolishly thought, no, I didn't think I was going to read this. I just was like, hey, I got it. It's one of the books I got early. No, actually, no, I don't think it was that. No, I did think I was going to read it. I don't know. Anyways, getting sidetracked. I mentioned, so, quick little bullet notes. This, I don't think, is the backups from the Wonder Woman Becky Cloonan run. In fact, I think it's just an OGN. This, honestly, confirms it. Because this is the DC graphics for young adults. DC graphics. DC graphic novels for young adults line. And the DC graphic novels for young adults line is usually an OGN. They had ones for kids too, but mostly young adults. This is the line that I don't know if DC Inc. is different, but basically it's like DC Inc. That's where you got Teen Titans Raven, Gotham High, I Am Not Starfire, all those types of books. And this is one of them. Young Diana. Not expecting too much. Honestly, the artwork I think is a bit too cartoony. And I don't usually like that super cartoony artwork. But if it's in a book like this, I don't really give a shit, really. If it's in a, in a fucking ongoing Wonder Woman run, yeah, that would kind of piss me off. But this is a young adult graphic novel line, and it's really, it kind of makes sense. And honestly, I think it's a good way to differentiate this between the ongoing Wonder Woman run, which I think it's made for the same around the same crowd. So I guess maybe there's no reason to, but I think there also is, in the sense that there's no reason to. But this makes sense. It's a young adult line. It's telling Wonder Woman's story in a different, sometimes in a different way. Like Gotham High was a different interpretation of the characters. So, and usually they take some liberties. Usually they'll no, it's not. I think Oracle Code told you should shop at the Joker. But I don't think they made it quite as dark as Killing Joke did. I know they didn't make it that dark. But anyways, young Diana. But that's just because of how dark Killing Joke is. I moved to Los Angeles to work in animation by Natalie Norgatt. So when I got the Natalie Norgatt image book known as, when I got the Between Gears written by Natalie Norgatt, published by Image, I was flipping through the artwork. I was to show the artwork on my comic hauls, and I had said like, oh my god, that's a lot of dialogue for a comic. Yeah, well, this I think beats it by a landslide. This actually isn't the best two-page spread to show. There's a much better one. Yeah, that is a lot of dialogue. This, according to Amazon, is only 80 pages long. I think I will feel each and every, not just each and every page of this comic, but each and every panel. Hopefully, it's in a good way. Now, here is the one that I'm not sure is an OGN or not. So, I don't know a whole lot about The Mask by John Arcudi. The only things I know prior is that it's much more violent than the movie, thanks to Nostalgia Critic. Not even Omar. Sometimes I learn these comic facts through Uncanny Omar, especially if it's a newer book I've never read before. I usually say, oh, like on a Sunbeam. That I knew because Uncanny Omar had it on his channel. I knew of it before. But Upgrade Soul, it's a much better choice. Because Upgrade Soul I had no idea existed before Uncanny Omar showed it off on his old reader, new reader video. I didn't even watch the video. I just said, hey, does the library have it? Awesome. I want to go in blind, so I don't want to know a single thing about this comic before digging in. And I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I did that. Despite what I felt, despite my criticisms, I am glad I did that. And the criticisms are just very small. You can see it on the video itself. But anyways, but yeah, The Mask was Nostalgia Critic of all people who reviews movies, which makes sense. It's based off the based off the movie, so, or the movie is based off the comic. Sorry, the comic is based off the movie. No, movie is based off. Sorry, movie is based comic first, movie after. So movie is based on the comic. So it makes sense he did that. But I know very little, so I don't even know if it started out as a series of original graphic novels, and then, or maybe it was always original graphic novels, and never was his own ongoing series. And then the omnibuses come out, and I'm like, well, it has to. I don't know. The thing right here that it shows, like this little thing where it usually tells you collecting previously collected material, such as issues 1 through 5 of. Actually, it's originally published in a single magazine form as The Mask 1 through 6. It's not saying that. So I'm going to treat this as an OGN. I just don't know. And there's no covers. Are there even covers at the end? Nope, just a bunch of sketches. So yeah, I don't know. And this is such an old printing too. Like, this is falling apart almost. So I guess back then you just didn't give a shit. But they had to have. Like, I feel like that's like something that's like not a violation or anything. They go to jail for it. But I feel like that's something you just have to put in your little copyright thing there. I don't know. But next one up is actually, speaking of Uncanny Omar, one that I had no idea existed before he went over it, and that is Midnight Radio by Iolanda Zanfardino. It was a 2-for-1. never heard of it, so going in completely blind, and written by an author that I'd want to check out their material more than work. I want to check out their work because my local library had nothing, like intro loans or otherwise. And Island of San Bernardino that does do work for Image. They did work for Image. It was the best we could do and the least we could do. And I forget what the other one's called. I know the cover is like a car, and I think it's like sitting on the roof of the car, on the on the front of the car, like leaning against, like trying to be cool kind of thing. And I can't remember what the actual book is called. I can tell, like, if you showed what the cover was, I can say, yeah, that's for this book. But I can't remember what the book is called. But anyways, Midnight Radio. Next one up is The Keeper by Tananarive Due. So, 2-for-1 deal. Don't know anything about the author. Don't even know if she's a girl or if he's a guy. And I've never heard of the book itself. The only reason I heard of this author was because they had done work for that. They did one shot for the Horizon Experiment. So by the skin of its teeth, and because it's not Spawn, The Darkness, or Witchblade, it counts. The reason why Spawn, The Darkness, and Witchblade don't count. Darkness and Witchblade are a bit of an exception, but the reason why Spawn doesn't count is because it's Spawn. And honestly, all three of them, it's not their own material, it's not their own work. I think that's, at the end of the day, how I judge it. To count it as the Image Comic Materials pile, and that whole thing. Because, in fact, I was going to check out Scott Lobdell's Teen Titans run to see if they finally had the full entire run. Because as you will see in this video, there are a couple comics that I was like, they're never going to have it, are they? And you will see them, and they did indeed have them. I just had to keep on trying. But in the case of Scott Lobdell's Teen Titans, so yeah, I want to try and do that again. But Scott Lobdell did do a Darkness one-shot, or was Witchblade? I don't remember what it was, but I think it was a Darkness. So, do I count that? Do I show it off now? No. I'm still going to count it as a miscellaneous pile. The pile that I have, like, Tom Taylor, who's done nothing for Image, Christopher Cantwell, and a bunch of... Robert Venditti, Philip Kennedy Johnson, all four of which have done nothing for Image. Frank Miller, I don't even count his Spawn work. So that's a good example of what I do and don't count. It's pretty, like, there's no big rule other than that. Other than that, even if they, now, anthologies, if they just 5 pages in an anthology comic, I don't count that either. It has to be, again, that's why I say it's skin of its teeth. It has to be a one-shot that's their own work. But yes, The Keeper. Tananarive Due. I don't know how to spell this. I don't know how to spell. I even know how to pronounce his or her first name. Alright, so now... Nope. I keep on these different piles. Alright. Killer Man. This is written by Steve Orlando and co-written by Philip Kennedy Johnson. But Steve Orlando still co-wrote this, so it still counts. And that is Killer Man. This one has been so long since I've read this the first time. I don't even fully remember how I felt about it the first time. I almost want to say I liked it, but I equally want to say I didn't like it. So I don't remember. So does it even count as a reread? Yes, it does. And why did they put that as the only soft cover and the rest are hardcovers? Except for one that says a bigger soft cover. I don't know. Green Lantern Earth 1, Volume 1. This is written by Gabriel Hardman and Karina Bechko. But what's kind of funny is that they seem to work together on a lot of books. In fact, the 2 Gabriel Hardman books, his wife, Karina, co-writes the book. So I find it kind of funny. This one and the next one you'll see. Both of which are rereads. So those of you who are eagle-eyed viewers will already know what the other book is. But Green Lantern Earth 1, I remember enjoying so much that, and it was such a fast read too. Like this is a good example of an original graphic novel feeling like nothing. It does feel like it's longer than your average comic. Don't get me wrong, but it felt more like it was a double-sized annual or something like that, not a trade's worth of book. Now time will tell if I feel the same way. but I'm sure I will. But point being, I remember thoroughly enjoying this comic. So much so that I almost did put in a request to get Volume 2 and read it right when it came in. But I think it was just too soon. It was really too soon. I just think it was going to be too long. So the library has 2 catalogs for putting in books, and I'm just going to assume it's been a long time, but not that long, that I got it before they had their new interlibrary loan system. The new interlibrary loan catalogs. There's 2 of them still. I still use the old one. Hence why I got this book, and many others. But their new catalog, the books come in a lot quicker. It's like same day to next day delivery, like with Amazon. If you're lucky, same day, but usually like within that week. But the other one, when it's actually called interlibrary loan, that one, it's like 1 to 2 weeks, sometimes 3. It is kind of ridiculous. But anyways, Green Lantern Earth 1 Volume 1. The hype is real for this one. Alright. So this next one is another reread, and that is Head Wounds Sparrow by Brian Buccellato. And this one, the first time I read it, really liked it. Second time was like, yeah, not as great as I remember it being. Hopefully, third time is the charm. Because I just think I thought it was different than it actually was. Because I honestly, it had been so long that I forgot, like my second time reading it, it had been so long that I forgot a lot of what happened in it. But now I won't forget, which is kind of funny to think about. Like, I could go a year or 2 without reading Head Wound Sparrow again. I'll still remember how weird the comic was, my second read-through. But not as much. I'm sure the first time I noticed that too, but just, I don't know. Hard to explain, because even I don't understand that. And the final original graphic novel, that being Fairy Quest by Paul Jenkins. This is, yes, the bigger, nice little magazine-sized book. But I didn't know, I knew so little about, so Fairy Quest, and another book you'll soon be seeing, was one that I had in my notes app. But it was like from 2022. It was whenever I got, actually I think it was just last year. No, 2023. So it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago I had Fairy Quest and another book you'll soon be seeing here in my notes app. And I kind of forgot about it. Completely forgot about it. I think it just got lost in a shuffle, because I do write a lot of notes. And I guess back then I was still writing a lot of notes. So I think it just got lost in a shuffle. I thought I had deleted it for one reason or another. So, and I think I actually went to my recently deleted. Didn't see it there, so I was like, ah, shit. And I just forgot what it was. I just forgot what I had in that little pile, that little wish list. But you'll soon see. Some of them I have since read, which is nice. Like, I had Klaus in there by Grant Morrison, which I think any given then was a reread, and other books like that I have read, but some of them 2 of them I had not read yet. But yes, Fairy Quest, Paul Jenkins. Sometimes I do like to tell a story, because that's kind of an interesting story behind that book. And I honestly, I'm kind of surprised when I looked up Paul Jenkins, the most recent time I wanted to look up Paul Jenkins' work, I didn't see Fairy Quest, or didn't remember about Fairy Quest. Just completely forgot about it. Like, almost like I gave myself amnesia after, or did it with the Men in Black thing, when they did that little, yeah. That's one of those inventions from a movie I know about before seeing the actual movie. I've seen bits and pieces from the first Men in Black movie, but never all the way through. And yes, I know I need to rectify that mistake. Very soon, in fact. I had the movie. Captain America. So now we're on to the rereads. So these are all your normal comics, your normal collected editions. They collect issues. These are not OGNs. But the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 books are all OGNs. No! Are all rereads. Brain, come on. First 17 books are all rereads. I don't know why my brain does that. It just says they're completely. I know I was thinking OGNs, rereads this, and it's like not like that. Yelling no that wasn't actual anger. I was like, come on, you were so good. You're doing so good too. All right. Anyways, first 17, I'll say it yet again, are all rereads. First 17 rereads, and not OGNs. All right. First one up is Captain America by Rick Remender, Volume 2. Sometimes a reread is not within the first 6 months. I like it so much as I'm going to reread it within the first 6 months. It's 2 years for one reason or another. I just thought I'd be getting everything that Rick Remender had written for Image Comics, but nope, because he has 1,000 ongoings going on right now, so it's never gonna happen. So I decided, you know what, it's never gonna happen. Let's break the rule and I really want to read the Captain America Rick Remender run. Let's do it. And also, it was around the time that I got in Tokyo Ghost. Was it? I don't know. Couldn't have been. It was too long ago. There's another Rick Remender book I got in. I don't remember what it was specifically. But Captain America by Rick Remender, Volume 2. So reread because I like it so much. Same with Transmetropolitan. Now this one is closer to every 6 months because of how much book there is. Regardless of whether or not I read this in the complete collections or these thinner trades, I don't think I'll ever take a longer break than 6 months. Sorry, a shorter break. I don't think I'll ever take a shorter break than 6 months. And even then, it'll probably be closer to 8 months next time. Or it's probably closer to 8 months than 6 months. I'm probably being a little generous here. But it is definitely one I enjoy so much, I want to read it again. Just because of how much book there is. 60 plus issues. I think it's exactly 60 issues. Yeah, I take a little breaks here and there. In between. Same with Preacher. And Preacher's my favorite comic series of all time. The Astonishing Ant-Man by Nick Spencer. Is this still have a lot of dialogue? Is this have a lot of dialogue? Yeah. It's insane. Like more than comics that are coming out at the time. And this book is not that old either. At all, actually. But this next one is The Astonishing Ant-Man, Volume 1, Volume 1. Astonishing Ant-Man, Volume 2 by Nick Spencer. But it still is an every 6 month rule book. I still like this book. It's proof that, yeah, the dialogue is a bit heavy at times, but I don't exactly mind. Completely mind. Anyways. Deadpool by Kelly Thompson, the complete collection. Now this is a reread to redeem. But this is more on this, like with Heart in the Box. It's in between. I want to read it. I like it so much. I want to read it every 6 months and reread to redeem. I didn't completely hate this the first 2 times I read it. I was just underwhelmed, and I feel like I shouldn't be. Hence why I'm rereading it. Because again, Kelly Thompson, Deadpool. Really like Kelly Thompson's writing. Kind of funny, both Kelly Thompsons are the in between. But I really like Kelly Thompson's writing. Her Black Widow run, absolutely astonishing so far. I've only read Volume 1. Over the summer, I will finally finish that run. And then she also wrote Jessica Jones' Blind Spot, one of the most underrated comics of all time that have been released in the past 5 years. It's just that no one knew about it, and it's kind of weird that a huge, prominent character like Jessica Jones and Kelly Thompson, who is kind of an up-and-coming writer, like if you're into comics, like I am, or like how others are, maybe like you have time, even if you've been into comics or have the time that I have, you know who Kelly Thompson is by this point. Hell, even first years now. So, pretty popular comic book writer, very popular character. You'd think more people would have read it, but kind of seems to be one that no one talks about. But anyways, it was Deadpool, Kelly Thompson, complete collection. Next one up is Before Watchmen, Comedian in Rorschach, written by Brian Azzarello. Absolutely love Brian Azzarello's writing. This is another example of why he's such an underrated writer. And why Before Watchmen, maybe, I've not read them all, but so far, because this is a reread, by the way, maybe, just maybe, Before Watchmen is a bit overhated. I understand why they hate, and I understand the hate, but at this point, like, they've done Rorschach by Tom King. Sure, it's not, but it still is Rorschach. It still is riding the coattails of the Watchmen universe, somewhat. And then you have, actually, no, it is, actually. It completely is. So it's riding the coattails of the Watchmen universe. Yeah, why do I say somewhat? No, it straight up is. It's just not Rorschach. But anyways, and it's not like a spoiler. That's to get you guys to read that book. 'Cause I'm not a huge fan of Tom King's writing. I don't hate him. I'm very much in the middle, very mixed feelings about his writing. And Rorschach is one of the ones I actually do really like. The next book will be like Tom King. But, yeah. just a little overrated. But and you had one thing I will give haters of the Watchmen universe being expanded, how far it's been expanded upon, and it didn't just stop at Alan Moore's Watchmen. First of all, creator owned. There's that, and second, I should have been like, all right, it's your baby, so we're not gonna fuck with it. And secondly, the way I understand why there's so much hate is because I don't think they should have made their crossover into the main DC universe. We never, like, Flashpoint Beyond should have been, I don't even know, but and to be fair, Flashpoint Beyond, from what I remember, is just the characters that Jeff Johns, writer of that book, had created in Doomsday Clock. And Doomsday Clock I actually did like. So all these Watchmen spin-offs I do actually like. So, alright. But before, even this I count as a spin-off. Yeah, it's technically a prequel. It's a spin-off. But before Watchmen. Again, reread, because I liked it so damn much. I really dug that one, too. It was really damn good. I think if you're gonna fuck with Watchmen, at least make your comic entertainingly good. At least give it a reason to exist. To the point where you're like, yeah, I would kind of be pissed if I lived in a world. I knew about this book, but I lived in a world where that never existed. And instead we just got Watchmen by Alan Moore and nothing else from Watchmen. Point made. Mr. Miracle by Tom King. So again, Tom King. This is, again, in the middle between want to read it every 6 months, I like it so much, and reread to redeem. Was pretty underwhelmed with this one. I feel like I shouldn't have been. Although I don't really like Strange Adventures, and this is basically Strange Adventures before Strange Adventures. Actually, it pretty much is. So, I mean, that's why. Yeah, it kind of like, it just seems not over, and again, actually, from what, like the same overall tone and feel of Strange Adventures. Like if you read, like if you like one, you'll really like the other kind of thing. But yeah, definitely this was definitely Strange Adventures before Strange Adventures. Mr. Miracle. Superman American Alien by Max Landis. Definitely a reread every 6 months book. Love this book to pieces. Osborn Evil Incarnate by Kelly Sue DeConnick. Now, as you can probably tell, when we started off with Before Watchmen, these are in my PC. I was gonna wait till summer for some of these, but I have such a huge stack that I'm just like, why not? Because I want to get it to 22 at least, why not just throw these in there? So, starting with Before Watchmen and ending at Ex Machina, these are books that are in my PC. So, starting at Before Watchmen and ending at Ex Machina, just in case I forget to say where it ends. I know I forgot to say where it started. But anyways, going back to what am I even mentioning this to begin with? Well, you would think I would have read Osborn, because this is an every 6 month book. You think I would have read this sooner had this been the case. So the case is, I forget a lot of what happened in this book. Like, so much so that any real plot twists I probably would forget about. And it's not been that long. So maybe it is a little bit forgettable, but I remember liking this enough. And not just because I got it for this price, but just liking it enough. Actually, it's exactly half. It was almost exactly half off. Actually, that does mean it's half off, right? Yeah. Basically half off. But yeah, it's kind of funny is that the same creative team, Kelly Sue DeConnick and Emma Rios, that same creative team behind Pretty Deadly. That is pretty epic, in my opinion. But yeah, this one I'm really liking enough, but don't remember a whole lot from. Sometimes a reread is completely 100% also because I forgot a lot of what happened in the book. That's usually why I do the every 6 month rule book. But some of, like Transmetropolitan, I remember more about that series than I do this series. Bad example, okay, I remember more in Deadpool than I do in this book. And Deadpool, I'm only on my 3rd reread, or 4th reread. And it's been pretty spread apart in between. Very much so as last time. So, that being said, I think I would still, it definitely is the book, in my opinion. But also maybe not. But yeah, Osborn, Kelly Sue DeConnick. Next one up is The Ultimates by Mark Millar. Whichever time it is. 10:18. Alright, we're still doing good. By Mark Millar, the complete collection. Like with Kelly Sue DeConnick Osborn, forget a surprisingly large amount of what happens in this book. Now, obviously, the main, like, crux of it, the huge turning point, I obviously remember that, but a lot of it I don't remember. And again, it's just the eagerness to reread this book. It's like, oh, it's almost like I'm reading for the first time ever, you know? Like, I honestly want to say that, other than a couple of things I didn't know before reading this book, other than that, like, I mean, it's one or two things. It is basically like I'm reading it for the first time, because most of what I remember is what I knew about before. But anyways, Ultimate's Complete Collection. Mark Millar. Mark Millar, honestly, unlike Rick Remender. Rick Remender, at least, his stuff is still being published by Image. His new stuff that he wants, Mark Millar said, you know what? Every last thing from Image, it's now Dark Horse. And I am not going to even bother doing technically, because that's why I have a Dark Horse on my Image comic shelf. No, fuck it at this point. As much as I hate to say it, fuck it. I'm never going to get everything that Mark Millar has done. And I don't think I'll ever stop getting Image books. I think until the end of time, when I'm buying comics for myself, it'll be Image. Now there's Kindle books I buy, that's any publisher. And books I give from the library, any publisher. But, yeah. And honestly, those guys who are like, oh, I'm kind of disappointed. You should see how many fucking comics I have. Honestly, if I could do a complete comic collection, like a huge, like a day-long, 24-hour live stream, you guys would probably be saying, alright, I'll never complain about that ever again. But to be fair, there are new books, like Absolute Batman, you'll never see the trades unless I'm going over them for library books. So, it's the best of both worlds, in my opinion. Basically, why I'm getting Image books, Image is the publisher I decided to get, again, 3 years ago today, in May of 2022, I just decided, hey, by sheer coincidence, the books I've gotten so far before I did the birthday haul were all Image. So for birthday haul, they're all Image. And I've never looked back since. Ironically enough, one of the ones I got was Invincible, to which one of the books I've started reading this month. That was the reason why, also. I did forget to mention that when I reviewed the book. But anyways, I just had the best track record with them. Best overall deal. Best overall pricing is really great, really consistent. Even nowadays, pretty damn consistent. And I think it'll continue to be that way. But then just again, the price is really good. The quality is overall the quality is really good. Now other publishers, sure, that's the same thing. But Image was just one I chose first. Image was just the one that I chose first. That's the cookie crumbles. But anyways, moving on. Dial H Your Hero, both volumes, all written by Sam Humphries. Really dug this book, but like with Head Wound Sparrow, first time I read it, really liked it. Second time, not so much. Hopefully third time's a charm. Harrow County. So this is a reread to refresh. Good example of that, because all I've read is this trade. There's more than this trade. Even if this is an omnibus. So there's 2 of these, and then there's a couple of little 4-issue mini-series, but it seems to be done. It seems to be not doing any more Harrow County. I should double check that. But anyways, it's a really damn phenomenal book. Written by Cullen Bunn, who is an extremely underrated writer. I have not read a single thing by him I've absolutely hated. Fearless Defenders is the closest. But other than that, I loved everything this guy has read. I loved everything this guy has written. Not read. I've read everything. I've liked everything I've read from this writer. Being Cullen Bunn. Alright, Ex Machina, last one from my PC. Brian K. Vaughan. So this is a good example of what I was saying before with Transmetropolitan. There's 2 of these. 50 plus issues, so 54 total, because there's 2 specials in here, and 2 specials in the next omnibus, next compendium. So 4 specials total, 50 issues. So that's an example of the Transmetropolitan effect. I am not going to, because of how much this book is, it's just 2 of these, 2 times over. I just could not bring myself to read it any sooner than every 6 months. Maybe I will change my mind, but just how much book there is, don't think it's going to be the case. And that's obviously when I finish the last volume of Transmetropolitan. after that, 6 months. So honestly, with that being 10 volumes, that's a long time. Even Preacher is 6 volumes, a long time. But yeah, that's a good example of no matter what format I read it in, no matter how much is in the collected edition, still probably can't read. No matter how much I like it too, still cannot bring myself to read it more than necessary. And that's why I say every 6 months. It's because of books like Preacher and Transmetropolitan and Ex Machina. Love all 3 to death, but cannot bring myself to do that. Now, Ex Machina I've not finished. I read all this, but I have not read the second compendium, which collects the rest of the series. So, this is a reread to refresh. Also. The Flash, Volume 3, Guerrilla Warfare. Now we're back into the library books. And this one is a reread every 6 months, on average, because this is really damn good. Phenomenal run by Brian Buccellato. Making readers care about Flash. I didn't care about Flash beforehand. I think it's safe to say that I'm not the only one. And not like I didn't care about Flash beforehand, just never had it on my radar, and now I do. Purely because of Brian Buccellato's run. Planet of the Apes, the other Gabriel Hardman and Karina Shore Bejko, how you say your last name, co-written book. And this one, like with Green Lantern, is so damn good and so damn fast-paced. It makes me want to check out the original movies, but I keep putting it off. But I will not do that. I want to say by the time I finish this book, I will have watched at least the first original movie. I've watched the prequels. I didn't watch the most recent one, but loved those to death. So here you go. But I think this, like with it'll be the Flash by Brian Buccellato effect, and will get people to care about the movies that didn't beforehand, because of how damn phenomenal this is. Now, am I expecting it to be even that good? Not really, but I lost a train of thought there. I'm not expecting it to be as good as the stories that this tells. Maybe it is. That's what I'm trying to say. Maybe it is. Time will tell. Wonder Woman by Brian Azzarello. Like with Flash, like with Planet of the Apes, got me to care about Wonder Woman. And like with Flash, I've reread this one so often that I had to just remind myself about that. That's how long it's been. Crazy, right? That's how many times I've reread that Wonder Woman run. But so damn good. And then the last reread, that being Scalped by Jason Aaron, deluxe edition of book 3. Jason Aaron. Alright, so I did say who the writers were, right? I'm pretty consistent. Brian K. Vaughan for Ex Machina. Unless I forgot to mention that. Just in case I forgot to mention that. Batman Arkham Killer Croc. So this collects a bunch of like random Batman stories. I didn't know this going in, but I thought there was more than just one writer on this book that had done image work. No, just one. So, but it's gonna see if Tim Seeley there's a book in here, so it technically counts. I will not do that in the future. This really should have been a book I checked out last time, but in the miscellaneous Tom Taylor pile, but I didn't. Family Time by Robert Wyndham and Lily Wyndham. So I think Lily Wyndham I know she's the daughter. I'm like almost positive that she is. I think she was younger. Like I think she wrote this when she was the age demographic for an all ages comic. I vaguely remember hearing about that. I could be wrong though. Maybe they came up with the idea and then years later put pen to paper. But Robert Wyndham, he did Seven Sons for. Is it called Seven Sons for Image? He did a book for Image, and Jay Lee did artwork for it. But this one was a long time coming. But unlike Fairy Quest, I completely forgot about this book. But now I didn't. Family Time. Here's the other book that, like with Fairy Quest, it was in the same notes. Family Time was not. Maybe it was. I don't know. Maybe that's how I finally remembered about that book. But I know for a fact that Iron Man 2.0 by Nick Spencer and Fairy Quest by Paul Jenkins were in that same notes app, on that same little notes section on my notes app on my phone, in that same section. So I found kind of funny. I completely forgot about it too. There you go. So this is not a reread, which is kind of insane for some of these. Alright, so this one is technically a reread because I read one of the 5 issues collected in Vader Dark Visions by Dennis Hopeless. Dennis Hopeless is a really damn good writer, by the way. In a sense, he's underrated. Like, really damn underrated is what I should have said. And Vader Down was one of those. Not very down. Vader Dark Visions. I'm getting confused with Jason Aaron's Vader Down. But Vader Dark Visions, issue 1, which is actually where this cover comes from, really damn captivating. One of those one shots that, like, yeah, you can tell an entire story, a captivating story with a beginning, middle, and end. Definitive beginning, middle, and end in just 32 pages. I think it was like 33 pages, but it felt like 23 with how fast-paced it was. But cannot wait to finally finish this 5-issue miniseries by Dennis Hopeless. Winter Soldier, the complete collection by Ed Brubaker. As promised, I am reading this right after Captain America, Winter Soldier. Also by Ed Brubaker. Abe Sapien, Dark and Terrible. This is technically co-written by John Arcudi, but most of it is Mike Mignola and Scott Alley. In fact, all of it is Mike Mignola, but some of it is co-written by either John Arcudi or Scott Alley. But I did not care because I finally, like with Darth Vader, so Darth Vader, Dark Visions, and this Abe Sapien were the books I was mentioning previously, where I put them in several times, and they said nope, nope, nope. And then the last time, I'm like, all right, we have it. We were just messing with you, and that's a good way to explain how just completely annoying the main ILL system is. They'll say we don't have a book, but you do have the book. There are like Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, by Tom Taylor. I know they had both volumes. They only have volume 2. Makes absolutely no sense. Maybe the library maybe volume 1, that same library, that book was too damaged beyond repair. But I don't know, it's just weird. In fact, they happen every single time with books I know they had, but they no longer have. And it just follows. My theories is that even the library doesn't know, that it's in charge of ILLs. Maybe it was damaged. Maybe the library doesn't do interlibrary loans anymore. I don't know. Those are my 2 theories. But moving on to the final book, Stumptown by Greg Rucka. One of the most consistently incredible, fast-paced, groundbreaking works that I've ever read. Stumptown Volume 3. By the great Greg Rucka. Unbeatable Greg Rucka, honestly. But that, as they say, is that. A fat stack of comics. So, that being said, I'm ending this video now, because this video has been going on for 48 minutes. That's long enough. It's already, 10:32. Alright. I guess the time without even looking at it. And I wasn't doing the math either. It was just, I knew it. Alright, we'll go to 50 minutes. So, fat stack of books. Cannot wait to dig into these. I think that's it. I don't want to say what the next video will be. It'll most likely be my birthday. Yeah, actually, it will be, because today is the 24th. Yeah, by that point. Now, on May 27th is my actual birthday. Now, it's looking like maybe they'll all come in by then. But I think what I'm going to do is, whatever books come in on May 27th, I'll go over those and whatever other books I was able to open. The other books that I got. So I'll be showing them all off at once. But only the ones that come in by then. It's looking like some might be a little bit longer, because fuck you, we're third-party sellers off Amazon, and we take a little bit longer. But honestly, I don't know. You'll get the whole story on May 27th, but that, as they say, is that. And so some of them, you'll see. I'm getting too far ahead of myself. Alright, so actually I've got 20 seconds left. What order they want to read these books in? Should probably do that. then that, then that, then this, then that, then that. Back to the side. If I could find like a way to have the drone do it, you guys could see the thought process between the order of the books that I read, the order of the that I go in to read these comics. It's always gonna be rereads. The first time I'm reading these, this time around, at first it will be rereads, then non-rereads, and then after that it's free for all. So you see that 17 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. Not 13, 14. No. But some of these, because I want to get to 25, so that's another thing I would mention. Oh, yeah. So, on big long weekends like this, I have 4 days off because May 27th is my birthday. I'm taking that day off from work. I used to read 25 books per day when I had all the time in the world at my disposal. I don't anymore, so I can't do that as often. But big long weekends like this, I decided to fuck with it. I decided to hell with that. I'm gonna fucking do it. 25 fucking books, like I used to do it. Now, because of how packed this weekend will be, I don't know. But I might just wake up earlier. I don't mind that. Alright, that is it though.